Politic Bodies. We are 3 politic bodies. That's why we're here. I'm pleased to have my friends J.B. Cerin and Eve Miller here to do an improvisational piece called Politic Bodies. And it's a piece about social media. It's a piece about how social media has changed the world that we live in. As we just experienced in a bunch of readings, we were friending and liking and trolling and blocking and doing everything you do in social media because social media has changed the way that we think of others, I believe, and the way that we take in information and how we push it around in our heads and then it comes out, and usually in ways we don't understand. So as we're improvising, I'm just wondering, Eve, as the cellist here, working with singers in the last piece that we just did, what is your thought about whether you're involved in what we do or whether you're sort of in your own circle? Like, what's going on for you?
I feel like it comes in and out. I start on my own, and then depending on what you guys are doing, sometimes I feel like there's a joining in there. But how long it lasts is really dependent on what's going on with the improvisation between the two of you.
Right.
And sometimes, because the cello is in the vocal range, I can't distinguish what sound I'm making and what sound the two of you are making.
That same feeling.
Which becomes really, really interesting at that moment, because it's just, it's kind of out of body a little bit, like, is this my body or your bodies? Or where is that sound coming from? Right. So I'd say that it's in flux the entire piece, really till the end. Yeah.
That is way cool.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun with you. Because in this particular movement, we're giving and taking a lot. When you're, I know how I'm thinking, but when you're improvising, what's coming through your head there as far as, because if the listeners don't understand, the viewers, that everything Eve is playing is written down, but nothing we're doing is written down.
Right. So my thought process really is not to think too much and to sort of feel where the music wants to go and feel how I can sort of integrate myself into the larger sound, but then also lead.
Right.
It's like this give and take between following and leading, which sort of brings us back into this larger analogy, or this larger metaphor for what happens in the echo chamber that is a Facebook page, where whatever is going on, whatever issue is going on, all my friends have the same opinion.
Right.
And I sort of insert myself into that stream, and sometimes I'm imitating, and sometimes I'm like, hey guys, maybe this is another perspective. But mostly we just sort of agree.
Yeah. I find it's interesting because thinking in this piece requires thinking of stimuli that you can't at all predict. So though it's easy to hear Eve's part as having a cohesion, I feel like I never really know where I am in relation to Eve. So I'm always like one of us is going to start in a silence, and it's hard to know who's going to do it.
Right.
And there's like this dare thing.
Yeah.
But once we're in there, what I love is singing with another singer who knows polyphony as well as you do, and that I've done a lot. We're playing these tricks of like things we've remembered.
Yeah.
And subconscious. That's really fun, but it is kind of a tightrope walk at times.
Yeah. Because the entire movement is harmonics on the instrument. It feels very much like a tightrope walk. And I also, to talk about entering...
Sorry.
No, that's okay. But to talk about entering into silence, it's interesting because some of the rests, I have, like when I'm looking at the music, my part is written out, you guys are improvising. There sometimes is a tendency to want to allow a little more space between the cracks. You know what I mean? It feels like, that shouldn't be 3 beats there, maybe 3.5, depending on what you guys are doing. So it starts out very rigorous as to what's on the page, and then through what's morphing in real time, it begins to have a little bit of spaciousness within it. And also, it's funny about the harmonics is it made me think about Facebook and how everyone's always presenting the perfect self or the perfect version of themselves. They're basically curating,
Yeah,
that's
totally.
true.
Totally.
Totally
curating.
And the thing I like about this part, because it's so difficult to play and always make harmonic sound, is it's impossible for me to curate it. Like I cannot actually tell sometimes what is going to come out depending on the humidity in the room, the bow speed, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of refreshing in that sense.
I was going for something. One of the basic metaphors I was thinking of is I have a problem with idealism in general. Like, it's funny because I do a lot of medieval music. We've done medieval music together.
Yeah.
And all of that is based on ideal understanding of mathematics and the universe and a rational God that create. And I don't think that's true in any way, shape, or form. I think that we as humans take in stimuli and try to understand it, and our brains do things. And maybe there is something out there, but we can't really know it. But in a sense, your idealized part can't possibly be realized.
Never.
And that's
How wonderful.
I'm sorry about the torture, but it's kind of intentional. Like that's what we're looking for.
And how wonderful, because it kind of makes you let go a bit. You have to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a little bit like total surrealism. They did that, right? But I want it to sound pretty. But there we go. Well, thank you both. It's been a great
Thanks
pleasure
for
doing
having
this
No,
piece
this has
together.
been really, really fun.
We'll do more.
Really fun.